Hello YouTube, this is your one and only duelist here with Snow, and we're talking about his tournament winning deck today that he came in first place at our online tournament locals in our Rogues Den server. And Snow, tell us a little bit about your deck profile today.
Hey Jester, thanks for having me on. Yeah, not a problem. Great tournament, had a good time. Brought a Dragon Maid deck. In fact, I was invited by another person who was in the tournament, Voxia, and he said, "Hey, there's a tournament going on. Jump on over." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I wasn't at the moment planning to jump in, so I brought what I had. Um, I guess I could talk a little bit about myself. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Way back in high school, back in '04, '03, '04, that era, the Dual Monster era. Got out of it just as GX was starting. Briefly got back into it for a couple months during the Pendulum era. Then got back out of it. Kind of got back into it in the last year or so, watching a lot of the CMO stuff on YouTube, the progression series things. It got me interested in like GOAT format, so I was playing GOAT format for a while, and then Master Duel came out, and I said, well, gonna have to learn all these new decks. Um, that same friend who invited me, Voxy, he recommended a Dragon Maid deck. Said, "You like that anime, the Kobayashi Dragon Maid? This is a deck based on that archetype. Give it a try." I said, "Okay," and that's where I went. As far as the tournament, like I said, it was a great tournament. The first round when I played Prince, my first game did not go too well. I got taken out turn two by a 9,000 attack that came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
Um,
uh,
them Time Lords.
yeah. Time Lords was a unexpected deck to show up. It was really low tier rogue that appeared out of nowhere, and we do have that video footage. I think I can't be 100% sure, but I think we got that video footage on live from the stream or backed up on a YouTube recording that you might see coming out before or after your deck profile is uploaded. But
Oh no, don't tell me I'm gonna be in a best of compilation one day.
yeah, something like that.
Um, so that first game, round of that game one, had me going. Well, I don't know what's gonna
Yeah,
happen, but round two went a lot better once I figured out how to get around strategy, what Time Lords do, and everything. I figured I couldn't really negate too much, but I could bounce. So bouncing was the strategy I
yeah,
went for. Um, round three, we were back and forth, was pretty dead even. Nature Master Duel, we had a disconnect from connection error, so we replayed it, and I came out on top and moved on to round two or game two.
yeah. Pretty much your round one was pretty close. That third game did decide that you won. You went 2-1 that round and was pretty crazy. Like, a lot of us could tell, like, that round one, game one was, you was like, oh, what am I facing? And you're like, okay, it has zero attack, zero defense. What does Time Lords do? And then next thing you know, you got OTK'd out of nowhere.
Indeed.
So, with your Dragon Maid deck, anything interesting about it that you want to tell us about it? Why you're running some of the cards you're running? I know, like with Master Duel, since they came out, Max C is legal at 3, while in the actual physical card game over here where we play TCG is banned. So, has Max C actually helped Dragon Maids, your deck, run a lot more consistent?
Yes, it has. Typically, there's not too many combinations that result in a brick hand on the opening for Dragon Maids. About the only way you really brick is if you don't draw at least one maid. Um, Maxi can help in those few circumstances that might happen. Mainly for this deck, Maxi's more of a just to get the other opponent to back off, putting too much pressure on. Hopefully, um,
Yeah, so you're pretty much using it as a,
just a
hey,
countermeasure. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much it's like, hey, Max C, you either let me draw and get a really great hand, or you just kind of just stop.
Right. Yeah, the Nature Master Duel, obviously, there's going to be 3 Maxi in there. There's going to be 3 Ash. That's just how it is. I don't run
Yeah,
Imperm. I don't run some of the other stuff that seems to be pretty staples, but those 6 definitely get ran.
yeah. I did notice that we're when we was like looking at your deck, like you didn't have none of the imperm, and you're running the Decode Talker. Usually, I see in Dragon Maids they run the access code
Right.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
It,
I'm guessing it's you was running out of URs to use, so you opted out for Decode or something.
well, like all things Master Duel, you're always going to run out of UR regardless. If only we had infinite money. In this particular case, no, it wasn't particularly that. The vast majority of my extra deck is just fodder for Pot of Prosperity. I don't. Not,
Yeah.
there's cards in the extra I can't even go into. I really have no way of going into like Stardust, I think, or Gaga typically, or Baguska. They're just there as fodder to get a freak draw off of pot. Um, in all honesty, about the only extra card in there that's not the 4 Dragon Maid fusions, the Pitsy Guard Dragon or the Hieratic Seal, is the 2 Red Eyes Flares. I could technically go into one of them in a game. It is
Mm-hmm.
possible. It hasn't come up yet, but it is a possibility I could do. So that is one card I keep 2 in there just because I have them. But for the most part, the vast majority of the extra deck's just fodder for pot. Um,
Yeah.
the Pitsy Dragons are in there because of the Red Eyes engine being able to drop a black metal dragon, instantly go into a link for Pitsy, get the black metal effect, draw Red Eyes Darkness Metal, banish the Pitsy, summon the darkness, and then get a free special summon. Not bad.
Oh yeah. And then, like in the tournament in round two, you face Phantom, who was playing zombies. How did that game go? Like that match.
Uh, if I remember right, I went 2-0 on that one. Is that correct?
Uh, I think you did as well go 2-0 on that one because I think game one he opened bad and you stomped him, and I think game two you both opened pretty decently, but you just had one or two more card advantage.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering that particular duel. It went by so quick, and I don't think it got captured in the live stream. Um, I just remember a lot of zombies coming back over and over and over. I think game two was a kind of just us drawing down to see who could just stop each other from getting things out of the deck. Because Dragon Maids are very similar to like a zombie deck, where we're always just cycling the maids out of the graveyard back onto the field, and then back to hand, and then back to graveyard, and then back to field. So it was kind of just a back and forth to see who could get their effect off first, and then whittle the other one down off resources, from what I can remember.
And then, like, round three, you were in the final top two, you versus NC. NC
Yes.
was playing.
The Altarians.
Uh, yeah. The the Atlantis and all that. I think that's what he was playing, but I can double check later. So round three for trying to decide who was going first and second in the tournament placings, which you came first. How's that last round match went? How'd you feel about that?
Great games. That we actually enjoyed that one quite a bit. First game, if I recall right, the first game he went to go pull a maxi. I asked him to stop it. We had a fun little banter about that. Second game, it came back around. Wish you guys had been on the commentary where we were both talking to each other. It was funny because I went to go pull my maxi. He asked me, and I said, "Oh man, it's only fair I did it to you, game one." He laughed. Um,
Yeah.
the third game, we were going back and forth, and when it got down to the end there, anyone who watches the live stream will see that there was a point where he summoned. I'm trying to remember what it was. His last card, I think it was an Ash Blossom. I know I've got the live stream pulled up right here. Let me fast forward real quick. I can tell you what he summoned. Yes, he summoned an Ash for his final move. He had 100 life points left. He summoned Ash and then attacked into my dragon. Yeah, the reason why that happened, what a weird play. If he had been on the call with us, we were sitting there laughing. He says, "Well, if you've got one more, if you don't have three negates, then I think I might win this." And I'm like, "Well, we'll see." And then it was negate,
Yeah.
Ash, this, that. It finally got down to the end. I said, "Well, you got 100 life points. You might come back." He says, "Well, I'm drawing one card." He says, "Will you let me go out on my terms?" I said, "I don't know. What are you about to do?" He's come into Ash, and I laughed and said, I could technically, I have Dragon Maid Tidying as my trap card." I just told him outright. I said, "I have Tidying. I could literally bounce your card right now, but I'll let you go out on your own terms. Go ahead, man." So he attacked into my monster and ended it on his own terms. So that was enjoyable.
Sounds like it. And thank you, Snow, for allowing me to get this interview with you and get the scoop on your Dragon Maid deck profile that you brought to the Rogue's Den tournament and got you first place. And are you looking forward to this Sunday for trying to keep your crown
I am. I
title?
haven't had a chance to sit down and think about what I might try to build or maybe bring the same deck. I haven't had time to really get into it yet, but I do plan on doing something. I will definitely try to be there. I really enjoyed this one and looking forward to doing more.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for the interview and letting us see your deck. Hopefully, we'll see you next Sunday, and hopefully, maybe you'll come back on top again.
Hey, we can hope. Everyone have a good one. Thanks, Jess, for having me.
Thank you, and hope to see you.